So today we are going to continue to look at amplitude, but we're also going to add in this thing called the period. Again, the amplitude is going to be our height of the graph, and the period is going to be how long it takes for the graph to repeat, or what I mean by that is to go through one full cycle. So what that means is it's going to go from, if it's sine, it'll go 0, 1, 0, -1, and 0. So how long it takes to hit all of those points. If it's cosine, it'll be 1, 0, -1, 0, and 1. So basically, how long it takes to go through one cycle of hitting all of those points. So for y equals 3 sine 2x, we need to graph our points. So we're going to make a quick table of values using the exact same points that we want to look at. So usually we end up doing, sorry about that, try this again. There we go. We're going to do -2 pi, -3 pi over 2, negative pi, -pi over 2, 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and lastly 2 pi. So those are our traditional x values that we want to plug in. So the first thing we see here, as with this graph, is it's going to be 2 times x. So we're to figure out what 2x is, so we multiply all of these by 2. So we -4 pi, -3 pi, -2 pi, pi, 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, and 4 pi. So these are now the x values that we're going to plug in. So the last thing we have to do is find out what the y coordinates are. So we're going to look at our unit circle for these values. So -4 pi is two full revolutions the whole way around, so we end up back at 0. And what happens, so this is 3 sine 2x, what happens, all of these end up being 0. So at all of these values, we are going to be crossing the x-axis. So now we can place these points. So at -2 pi, we're at 0. At all of these key points, we end up being back on the x-axis. Right here. So now we have to use our knowledge of what the general sine function looks like, and we know that our amplitude is going to be 3 because that's the number that is in front of our value. So halfway between 0 and pi over 2, it has to get up to 3. Halfway between these two dots, it has to go down to -3. And same thing, up to 3, down to -3. Up to 3, down to -3. Up to 3. And all of these, we're just creating a rough sketch. I don't expect your graphs to be perfect, but I want you to understand how the general parent function looks like and have knowledge of what the pattern looks like. So this now becomes our graph. And I apologize for the squiggling. You can draw a lot better than I can on my tablet. It's going to look something like this. So if you notice, it's really smashed down our function. So it goes from here, so at 0 to pi, it goes through one full cycle, 0, 3, 0, -3, and 0. So the period here is going to be pi. So between 0 and pi in each increment, and that continues, so every pi it goes through one full cycle.